Well, hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another exciting week of the Fixate Binge podcast. What a week it has been. Half of the United States is covered in ice. And right now, any form of ice is bad ice. It's all
Yeah.
bad. All forms of ice that you were hearing about, whether it's from a meteorologist or a news pundit or reports from the Department of Homeland Security, any form of ice you're hearing about right now is negative. I don't want to delve too deeply into what's going on in Minneapolis. I have a dear friend that lives in Minneapolis who has never been political but decided to post some things that said, I can't stay silent any longer. So, Rebecca, if you're listening to this, this is for you. And man, has she awakened. It's like stepping in an anthill. So many people within her network are pushing back. I'm seeing a lot of pro-ICE, pro-Trump memes, people arguing over objective reality. No, the sky isn't blue, it's green. These are all domestic terrorists, things like that. It's really awful to see so many people gaslighting. And we had a death, a tragic death, just this weekend, another shooting in Minneapolis of a ICU Veterans Affair nurse. This guy is a patriot. He had a CNC, a conceal and carry weapon. So he was within his right, according to the Second Amendment, to bear arms, and he had a permit for one. And he didn't even pull the gun out. He was filming ICE agents because that's what we should all be doing, because otherwise, the revolution will not be televised, and that's why. So they're filming him because they won't televise this. And he was filming ICE agents doing their job, and they ganged up on him, and the long story short is they executed him.
After pulling his gun off of him.
That's right. And they pistol whipped him on the ground too. I saw that as well.
Yes. So he not only was he not reaching for his weapon or using his weapon wasn't on him, and he was shot in the back 10 times.
Folks, if you've wondered who that voice is, that is the voice of my guest. And I'm so glad he's here with us. This is if you've been listening to this podcast from the beginning, this is a familiar voice. He's one of my favorite guests. He's one of the first guests to ever come on the Fixate Binge podcast. And I can't wait to bring him on. And we're going to dive deep into these Oscar nominations for 2026. But DiAnté Jenkins is from Washington, D.C. He's on the East Coast, and which I think resembles Ice Planet Hoth from Empire Strikes Back, if I'm not
Definitely
mistaken.
does. I literally just got back inside, and it's we had probably, maybe 8 or 9 inches of snow, and now it's sleet and frozen rain falling on top of that. So it's going to be real messy.
Holy cow. That sounds absolutely miserable. I'm in California and people are complaining about the weather being 45 and 50 degrees outside.
That sounds
Um,
like a summer day right now.
I bet it does. I bet it does.
Later this week it'll be 5 degrees. So
This is awesome. Now, in preparation for this podcast with Deontay, guys, all my listeners, I did as much as I could. I did a mad dash to watch as many of the films that on Thursday got announced for not best, but got announced for Academy Awards for the 2026 Academy Awards. I ended up watching F1. I ended up watching Hamnet on Friday with my wife. I watched another foreign film in the best foreign language category. And I made a brief review of Hamnet, Chloe Zhao's Hamnet, and I created a TikTok for it and I uploaded it. And I was very excited because I thought it came off very well. And TikTok flagged it, claimed it was violating the fair use copyright laws. They flagged it, they pulled it, which sucks. I've appealed it, but I don't think it's going to work. But for what it's worth, I wanted to just briefly play just the audio of my review. And so I'm going to play that for you right now, and then we're going to jump into everything with Deontay. Hang on. Chloe Zhao's Hamnet hurts in ways cinema rarely dares, treating grief not as catharsis, but as a lifelong sentence carried by those left behind. In doing so, it pulls William Shakespeare down from the pedestal of history and returns him to the vulnerable, unknowable space of lived experience. The plays and poems of Shakespeare have belonged to the world now for over 4 centuries, and the further we drift through time, the harder it may seem to remember that those very plays and poems sprung from the imagination of a young man, a glover's son, a Shropshire lad, born and bred in Stratford-on-Avon in County Warwickshire during Elizabeth Tudor's reign. Though there are biographical details missing from Shakespeare's early life, enough exists to piece together that he met and fell in love with Anne Hathaway, 6 years his senior, and that the birth of their daughter Susanna, 6 months after their betrothal, is evidence of a shotgun wedding. But were they a happy family? Did Shakespeare want to be an absent father? Was the marriage happy? We may not know exactly why Shakespeare initially chose to leave his family at home for significant periods of time, but in Maggie O'Farrell's 2020 historical fiction novel, Hamnet, she imagines a very plausible and likely explanation. The love between Annis, played by Jessie Buckley, and Shakespeare, played by Paul Mescal, blossoms organically. O'Farrell's novel and Zhao's film give us a down-to-earth story about a close-knit family with a deeply insecure Shakespeare, worried about fatherhood, being a provider for his young family, and struggling to get out from underneath his father's own oppressive influence. When both Annis and Shakespeare agree that London is where he must go for better opportunities and for peace of mind, the challenges of his absence weigh heavily on the family. When twins Judith and Hamnet fall ill from the sweating sickness, a common predicament with usually tragic results in Tudor times, the absence of Shakespeare as young Hamnet dies amplifies the grief that Annis endures and the resentment towards her absent husband. Riven with grief, Shakespeare returns alone to London and buries himself in his work. It is from this overwhelming melancholy in London that he writes one of the most sublime works of literature about fathers, sons, broken families, and death as only he can. Intense grief and personal tragedy has long been the catalyst for some of the most beautiful works of literature, art, and philosophical expression in world history. And in Hamlet, Shakespeare captured from the page to the stage the depths of loss and the importance of family as no one before or since has ever done. O'Farrell's novel leans heavily on the idea that the death of Hamnet superimposed itself on the tragedy of Hamlet. It is also worth remembering that Shakespeare's own father died in 1601, which happens to also be the same year that it is believed Hamlet was written. Meticulously written, expertly acted, especially in extended single takes, with an ending that will literally cleft your heart in twain. Zhao's Hamnet is an instant classic about suffering, personal tragedy, and more importantly, healing. No wonder Shakespeare could write so convincingly about broken families, personal tragedy, but also joy in being reconciled and restored. Okay, so that was my review. What a great film, and what a great way to lead into having you back, DiAnté. DiAnté joins me, as I said, from Washington, D.C. You've had a lot going on since you were last on the podcast. The last thing I was noticing was that you undertook a mammoth project to make every week a short film. How many weeks did you do this, DiAnté?
The weeks that were released was 26 straight weeks, but I made 35 of them total.
You made 35 short films in a
Yeah.
year, in a year's time?
Yeah. Most of those were made within that 26-week period. I think so. What happened was I started in January shooting films, shooting short films because I knew I wanted to release every week, and it was originally supposed to be just 15 weeks in a row. So I shot 10 at the beginning of the year from like January to April, and then and I think I started in May. I started releasing them, and then I just kept going. And so for the rest of the 25, 10 of which have not been released, I shot all in 26 weeks. Yeah, it was a lot.
Holy cow.
And
Um,
the craziest thing is it was just me. It was just me and a couple of actors, nobody else.
Now you featured in some of yours, didn't
I
you?
did.
So you had to put somebody else on the other end of the camera to get
Nope,
you.
nope,
And no,
nope.
no,
Just me.
just holy cow.
That's me. I would set a monitor up just off camera so that I can see myself
Yeah.
and, just go.
And you would hit your marks and make sure you're in the right
Yeah.
lighting and then just do it.
Yep.
Jeez. Now, by the way, folks, I am a one-man band with this podcast, have been doing this all by myself now for almost 2 years. And I feel humbled to hear that you're filming. You made short films every week for 26 weeks. I mean,
Hmm.
that blows me away. I'm sorry. I feel humbled by that. I just feel completely humbled by that. What did this project of short films do for you creatively, or in terms of your growth as a filmmaker? What effect do you think that had on you?
I think it was really just an exercise of executing what I theorized in my head in terms of lighting and composition and working with actors and all of that. There's a lot of things that you learn as a filmmaker, especially now, uh, on the internet and on YouTube and stuff like that, or just by working on sets. There's a lot that I learned working on sets that was problem solving things that I didn't necessarily get to execute to the fullest because I solved the problem in the moment. So this time I got to actually do a lot of those things and just have something have work that I didn't have any pressure on. There was no money. Only person that lost any money was me. Only person that gained any money was me. And I did not gain very much, maybe $100.
Right.
There was just no pressure. It was just do it and see how many I can do and see what stretches of my imagination I could come up with to come up with these shorts every week because I didn't have them written in advance. Most of them, they were written. A lot of them were written the same week. Some of them written the same day that we shot.
Wow.
Yeah, there was it.
Um,
It was crazy.
I really enjoyed a few of them. I remember you did one. I don't know if this was part of the project or if this was just an earlier short film you made, but it was the Uno short film that you
Yeah,
made.
that was an earlier short film. Yeah, that was honestly that was so this idea had been percolating in my head for years. This was supposed to be before my original TikTok that
Yeah.
had over 100,000 followers was taken down. This was the next big project that I was going to do for that. So the Uno short and I think like two or three more came out around that time were me kind of testing the waters to see how the audience would respond to short films rather than my film analysis.
Okay.
So
Well, you did one where I think you were having a conversation with a lady, and it was like a rooftop
yeah,
conversation.
yeah,
It looked
yeah,
like it
yeah.
was at dusk or the sun was setting.
Sun
There
was setting,
was
yeah.
the
Hmm.
sun, I mean, the lighting, the cinematography, all of that was just gorgeous to look at.
Thank you. That was one of the that was one of the tougher ones to do because that was all shot on location in real time with the sun actually setting, and I wasn't supposed to act in that at all, nor was she. I hired two actors, and they both dropped out within 2 days of us actually shooting. And
Oh,
my good friend Virginia Brown, who is the actress in it,
yeah.
and also is an actress. She happened to be in town. She lives in New York now, and she happened to be in town. And I was like, "Hey, do you want to do this thing?" And she just hopped on and was able to do it. Um, the like 2 days before, learn the lines and all of that like 2 days before, and then like literally the day of, or maybe the day before, I can't remember. The guy that was supposed to be in it dropped out, and I was like, "Okay, well, I guess I'm doing it now." So I'm not only like because it d despite the fact that I write these things, I don't know the dialogue by heart. I know what's supposed to happen, but I don't have all of the dialogue memorized. So I'm shooting, trying to remember the lines, trying to race against time to fight the sun going down before it just goes completely dark. Also shooting on a rooftop in the middle of the city, so sound was a big issue that I was battling with too. That one, yeah. I honestly I might be the most proud of that one just because of the hurdles I had to jump through to get that one done.
Well, I'll say this from watching it. You, my friend, are smooth. You are smooth. There wasn't any inkling. I thought you had just, that was the plan all along. I mean,
No,
I thought you were the guy to do it. You just decided, I'm going to do this one myself. And
no,
I mean, you've got leading man charisma, man. I mean, I was just like,
stop it.
no, no, I'm being honest. Your gift as a cinematographer is that you just understand lighting so well.
Yeah,
Um, and
thank you.
so, yeah, I mean, everything that you do, Deontay, I think, and I've said this before, and um, is refreshingly original, and it is always from a perspective I admire. I just I would never want to get into a film debate with you because I don't think I could ever defend my position because you're so well informed. And
Anybody could debate me in film. I have my views on things, and other people have theirs. And if if you feel yours are strong, I it's all opinion based, you know.
you're right. You're right. Speaking of opinion based,
Wait, really quick. You mentioned
yeah,
my photography and lighting. One thing
yeah, yeah,
I always like to stress for just in case, aspiring filmmakers are listening, specifically cinematographers, cinematography is not about the camera, it's about light. It is not about the camera, it is about light. A lot of cinematographers don't understand that. A lot of cinematographers think it's about, composition, it's about camera movement. All of that stuff changes depending on what director you're working with. Some directors are very hands-on with that. Some directors compose everything. Some directors choose their own lenses. Some directors decide the camera movement, and others don't. Sometimes it's all on the cinematographer to do that. But what never changes, what's constant across any job that you do, any project that you're working on, is light. And you need to know how to work with light, how to shape light, how to use light to tell the story. And that's more important than anything else for a cinematographer to know. So I always like to say that anytime
yeah.
anybody talks about, because I'm a director primarily, but over the years have been forced to be a cinematographer, which I also love, and I have become good at it. But one of the things that I learned is that it is about light, and I want everybody to know that because a lot of people focus more on the camera side of things rather than the lighting side of things. And I can tell you, you're going to get more work if you can light than if you can, put the camera in an interesting spot.
That is very wise. That is very wise to offer that advice. I think that's fantastic. I do have directors, I do have producers, I do have actors that come on, but I haven't as much had a someone with your deep background in cinematography come on and at least share that. I do have a filmmaker friend that is a cinematographer in Bangkok, Thailand, who
Yeah.
makes films, and I know he would absolutely eat up that advice and probably absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
And you get it right so well. I mean, I love just listening to you talk about your favorite cinematographers, whether it's the films of David Lean or the films of oh my gosh, what's his name? He does Blade Runner 2049. Roger Deakins. That's who I'm
Yeah,
thinking of.
Deacons, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. I mean, I really, I love cinema as a whole, in every aspect of it. And I'm a bit obsessive about things. So when something starts to interest me, I have to go all the way in on it. And like I said, I'm a director primarily, but
yeah.
most of my own work nowadays I'm shooting, and I get hired to shoot other people's work a lot, and for me, directing and cinematography go hand in hand. If you, which most people do, if you, if you adhere to the auteur theory,
Yeah.
that the director is the author of the film, you have to, as a director, be able to tell a story visually because cinema is a visual art form. So you have to understand cinematography, you have to understand the camera, you have to understand light, you have to understand all of these different aspects, production design, and how it's affecting the story that you're being told. So the more you know about it, the better you can either execute on it or communicate to others on what your actual vision is. And cinematography, I think, is the closest collaboration with the director because of that. You have to be able to uh, visually translate what's in your head onto the screen, and a lot of times that's communicating to the cinematographer what it is that you want. So, for me, cinematography is it's Robbie Mueller who shot a lot of things like Repo Man, and he shot Paris, Texas, and a lot of Jim Jarmusch
Oh,
films. He has a theory that cinematography is basically what I said. It's not it is light. It is light, but it's also poetry. You're painting with the light. You're not just throwing up lights to get exposure. Sometimes you want over or under exposure. Sometimes you want to shape a light in a certain way, and all of this affects the way the audience perceives the things that are happening on screen. You change the lighting, and the entire scene is different. So that's kind of what I adhere to. That's why what I strive to do with my own cinematography.
wow. And I'm even remembering one of the, thank you for that. I'm even remembering one of the social media posts you recently made about Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, which we can jump into here in a minute, where
Sure.
you talked about differences in lighting in within the
Yeah,
same scene, you know, and which it
that was
changes things.
yesterday.
Yeah, that was yesterday. I
That was
watch all your stuff, man. I watch all your stuff. It's always interesting. Yeah. So to my listeners, you may not know this, but DiAnté also has taught college classes on film and film appreciation or film history, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, yeah, on film, on photography, on college, high school, and elementary school. I've done all
Wow.
three levels on film photography, film and photography, not film photography, but film
Sure.
photography, and film history, and composition, and how classical art can help you with your storytelling, and all of that. I'm really I'm thinking about doing a video right now on oh my goodness, whoa, brain just collapsed.
It froze. You're too cold
Whoa.
out there.
Honestly, hold
Brain
on. Now
freeze.
I feel crazy. What, what? Oh my goodness.
I'll cut all this out, man. It's all good.
What is his name? What?
I have so many of these
It's
moments
Rockwell.
myself.
I know his last name is Rockwell. I want to say Sam Rockwell, but that's the actor.
You're right, right.
Norman Rockwell, which everybody knows Norman
Oh, the
Rockwell.
painting. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
the
of course. The
painter.
painter.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because his Norman Rockwell's paintings tell such vivid stories, and his compositions are so strong. And he was not looked at as a fine artist; he was looked at as an illustrator. But
Mm.
the stories that he tells with his images are just incredible. So there are things like that you can take and apply it to cinema. That's the great thing about cinema. It's a kind of a combination of every single art form all in one.
My listeners may not know this, but whenever DiAnté comes on, and we've had you come on a few times in the past, usually around this time of year, to talk about your picks for the latest announcements of Oscar nominees. And I'm not kidding. I don't endorse betting, but apparently you can bet on the Oscar winners.
You sure can now.
Yeah. And
You can bet on anything now.
that's right. And if you are looking to place bets on who will win the Oscars, you need to listen to what DiAnté is going to share with you. I'm not guaranteeing you that he's right all the time, but he's
I,
right more than probably anybody you know. So that's why the title of this episode, I think, is Place Your Bets. Filmmaker DiAnté Jenkins is back with his 2026 Oscar predictions. Hope that doesn't sound too pretentious for you, man. But
I find it
the,
funny.
yeah, that's right. So without further ado, I want to talk about just the Oscars in general. What was your immediate reaction to the Best Picture Oscar nomination announcements?
Best Picture went pretty much how I thought it would go. It was F1 was not a surprise, but there were some other films that I think were battling it out for that spot. But yeah, Best Picture pretty much I think is a good representation of the best of cinema of the year. There's some things that were left off. Weapons could have been there, but historically the Academy isn't a big horror or genre thing, even though, Sinners, which is a horror film technically, is one of the front runners for the Academy Awards right now. But yeah, I'm pretty satisfied. I enjoyed all of the films that were nominated, except for the one that I haven't seen yet. But
Yeah, that's the one that got away before this podcast. That is the Secret
okay,
Agent.
I'll see it soon. Yes, The Secret
That's right.
Agent.
The Secret Agent, the Brazil's Secret Agent, which I have failed to see. I Of the 10 films that got announced, I have not seen eight. Sorry, I have not seen two of those 10 films. You have just only got to see the Secret Agent, and then you're locked, and you'll see it before the Academy Awards, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I think
Um,
AMC typically releases all the Best Picture nominations in theaters before the Academy Awards. So
Yeah, AMC is pretty good at that. And we were talking about this earlier. We were like, we could rent some of these films, but they want to rent them to you on Amazon Prime for like $20 a piece. And it's like, if I'm paying $20 a piece, I don't want to see it on my TV.
right.
I want to see it on the big screen.
Right.
So
And the big screen in the dark is the best speakers and best visual
Yeah.
quality and audio quality that you can get.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to see a best picture on a TV film? Anyway, a TV screen. Anyway, one of the things I was surprised didn't get any love at all, and it might be because it may have not met the qualifications that the Academy looks for, or maybe its technical release date was last year. So if I say this ignorantly, I apologize. But Alex Garland's Warfare, I thought was
Oh yeah, was that?
fantastic.
I do love Warfare, but was that? I can't remember when that came out. Was that
I
eligible?
I I thought that came out right around the time at the beginning of the year. I thought, and
It
I'd have
was
to,
around the beginning. So yeah, I honestly forgot about it. Uh,
and it got no love. It got no love, and it
yeah,
was impeccably directed.
yeah,
Um,
that was April.
yeah, I thought that had. I was really surprised. So when I saw F1, I saw F1 this week, and I thought, you know what? I think Warfare was technically a better film, but
Yeah, Warfare is a controversial one. I know,
yeah,
which I enjoyed the hell out of it, but Warfare and I think Eddington did this thing, Eddington a
mm,
little bit more extreme, where it made both sides politically feel that they were to blame for whatever's going on. Which, when you start to make people feel like you're blaming them, they kind of check out, you know. That I think that, but I think that's the only way to really do a political film or a war film, to really, not the only way to do it, but I think that's doing it that way. There's blame to be put around for everybody for everything, Sometimes the blame leans more to one side or another side, but to ignore what the other side has done if they're doing something good right now does not do any benefits, because when they get back in power, then they continue to do the bad things that do not benefit us as a whole. So I like Warfare for kind of, painting the picture that way, and Eddington as well. But yeah,
yeah,
Warfare. I think Warfare also suffers from the most Academy Award films come out in the second half of the
mm,
year, in the third or fourth quarter. Because out of sight, out of mind. There's
sure,
rarely a film that comes out early in the year that makes it all the way through. Although Sinners came out early in the year, and Everything Everywhere All at Once came out early in the year when it won Best Picture, and Jordan Peele's Get Out came out earlier in the year when it won for Best Screenplay a few years ago. So there are exceptions, but for the most part, most of the time, it's, third and fourth quarter is when you will see most of the films that are nominated for Academy Awards. F1 came out during the summer this year too, though. So, you know,
yeah. Well, that's what I wanted to talk to you about with these Best Picture nominees. Which I have a lot of respect for filmmakers. They may not have tactfully done this, but when you release your film at in the non-award season, like you said, the third or fourth quarter of the award circuit, and you
yeah.
just release your film because that's a great time to release it, and it's earlier in the season. It's a tremendous amount of confidence that your film is going to do well. But I'm wondering if they think that this is the studio lacks the belief that this is Oscar material, which is probably why they're not waiting or holding it. Um, I don't know what you
Um,
think about that.
I mean, I think there are some movies that are very clearly awards movies that, have more meaty performances, have more showy directing, more, uh, more challenging materials. But I don't think studios aren't thinking of it like this is an Oscar movie. This is a, whatever. They're thinking of it as, what time will this make the most money? It's always bottom line for studios, And as far as Sinners goes, Sinners was released at a time where there wasn't much else going on, nothing big at least, so it could dominate the box office. It had all of the IMAX theaters for weeks, until F1 came out. Was it F1 or?
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I think
Yeah, I think it had all of the IMAX theaters until F1 came out. I might be wrong on that, but
wow.
so it's like, what are we going to do to optimize the best amount of money that we can make? And sometimes that is the fourth quarter. Like Avengers Doomsday this year is coming out in December, as well as
Yeah.
Dune Part 3, So it's sometimes it is the fourth quarter that is the best time, and other times you don't want competition. You want to have a clear path to victory, you know?
Well, I appreciate that. I think that's very astute. That's probably absolutely right because lest we forget that these films they're also designed to make money too. I
Yeah.
mean,
That
there's
they're primarily designed to make money on it. It's
yeah,
the film business, you know.
yeah,
So yeah, you always got to keep the business part in mind. That's the
yeah.
only reason these things are getting made most of the time is because they make money.
Very true. Of the 10 films, you've seen nine, I've seen eight, so we can't really get into the film from Brazil. But of the 10 films, let me see if I can get the
I
10
can
films.
confidently say though that that will not win best picture. So
You think Sinners will not win?
no. I think The Secret Agent will not win.
You think The Secret Agent will not
Yes,
win? Yeah.
the one that I haven't seen, and the two that you haven't seen, which is The Secret Agent and Sentimental Value, I can confidently say those will not win Best Picture. Even though I love Sentimental Value and I expect to love The Secret Agent.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Is it because is it because sentimental value is from? I mean, it's foreign language. It's a mix. It's
No, not in this Academy. So the Academy has grown now, and you can
yeah.
see that reflected in the most recent Best Picture winners and in the nominees. Brazil had not had a Best Picture nomination ever, and now in the past 2 years they have two Best Picture nominations. So the Academy has grown and become more international than it ever has before. So I think I don't think it's because of that they're not winning Best Picture, but there are clear front runners for Best Picture right now.
I think it's down to three films. I for Best Picture, I think it's down to Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and One Battle After Another. I want to
I
say Sinners,
I
maybe.
think it's down to two. I think it's
Oh,
Sinners in One Battle.
oh, really?
Yes, yes. I
Wow.
think Hamnet has lost steam.
Okay.
Um, Marty Supreme, I think people are m more focused on Timothy Chalamet's performance than the
Hmm.
film as a whole, even though the film as a whole was great.
Yeah.
And One Battle has just been steamrolling since it came out.
Wow. Okay. I can't disagree with that. I'm sorry. I want to
I feel like
push
Sinners
back.
has picked up momentum recently. There's been a lot of online outrage from it not winning awards for some of these precursors. So I think some of the Academy voters might have heard some of that, and that's reflected in Naomi Osaka being nominated for Best Supporting Actress because she has not been nominated in any of the precursors, and Delroy Lindo also being nominated because he also has not been nominated in any of the precursors. So there's a lot that's going into that. And I think, Sinners is a movie that made a lot of money, that was critically acclaimed, that would not piss the majority of people off if it won Best Picture.
So we're thinking, so you're thinking it's down to One Battle After Another and Sinners then.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my thoughts currently.
I wouldn't be too upset if either one of those won.
I
I
wouldn't either. I was so when the awards were not and before the awards were announced, it was One Battle without a doubt is winning.
yeah.
After the awards, it was maybe Sinners has a bigger shot than I initially thought because of it, 16 nominations. Although historically speaking, the film with the most nominations typically does not win a lot.
Right.
Um,
Right.
you can see that with La La Land. You can see that with a lot of pictures. I remember
Sure.
The Color Purple. Well, I wasn't alive then, but The Color Purple had the most nominations and won nothing. American Hustle had the most nominations one year and didn't win anything. So there's a lot of that happens. But
Wow.
now I think so. I think One Battle has it because of the political climate right now. I think it is very relevant to the political climate, and I think Academy voters vote with their emotions. Not to say that One Battle. I think One Battle is an amazing film,
Sure.
but I think definitely what's happening will paint a picture for the Academy voters and what they tend to lean towards. So my money would be on One Battle After Another right now. Not to mention the whole Paul Thomas Anderson of it all.
He's never won, has he? He's never
He's
won
never
a.
won a single Oscar at
That's
all.
That's crazy because I still think There Will Be Blood is the finest film made in the 21st century.
I think well, it's one of my favorite films, if not my favorite film of all time.
Yeah.
And that was a tough year. That was a really tough year,
Ooh,
you
with
know.
No Country for Old Men, and
Yeah,
yeah.
not even just that. I think Juno was that year. What year was that? Was
Oh yeah.
'07.
Oh
There was a
seven.
lot of good stuff, but No Country for Old Men is also a fantastic film. But I think public sentiment kind of is leaning more towards There Will Be Blood over No Country for Old Men in more recent years.
Yeah, it seems to have struck a different chord. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's really weird how films become they pass in and out of relevance. But you're right. The moment seems to be one battle after another. If we were
right.
to look at the current political climate, we were to look at the way things are in our society now, you'd be ignorant. You'd be really naive to say that some of that isn't going to affect the voting.
Right. I think that is literally the deciding factor right now.
Hmm.
Well, no, it's not. I think, like I said, the Paul Thomas Anderson of it all is a huge thing. He is arguably, and I know some people disagree, but I feel like the majority of people would say he has arguably either matched his best film, which, you know, would we can say is There Will Be Blood, or come pretty close to matching his best film. I
Right.
think the majority of audiences and critics have said this is his finest work in a long time. For me, it's my favorite films from him is There Will Be Blood, Phantom Thread, and now this at number three. So to have this long career and have a film this good this late in your career, you know, that's pretty remarkable. And the fact that he hasn't won for anything at all. It's almost like it is kind of like how, you know, they'll give the legacy awards, you know, like The Revenant isn't Leo's best performance, but he hadn't won, and you know he might have been. It was a it's time type of thing.
Yeah.
But in this
Yeah.
case, it's arguably his best work. I've seen a lot of people. I don't think it's his best work, but I've seen a lot of people arguing that it is his best work. You know.
Wow. And I can't disagree with them, but when you have such a standard of excellence and you keep putting out fantastic water
Yeah.
cooler discussing type films
Yeah.
out over and over and over again, it's time to come around. Didn't the same thing happen to Martin Scorsese for years?
Yes, same thing. Same thing happened to Martin Scorsese. You know, I think a lot of people um, feel that The Departed isn't his best work. I think The Departed is not his best work, but that's
No,
just because The Departed is a great film, and it would be any other director's best film in their filmography. But he also has Taxi Driver and Raging Bull, and
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas, and you know Casino, and all of these
Yeah,
great films that came before. So it's hard to top. We're talking about the greatest films of all time. It's hard to beat that, you know.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, awesome. Well, speaking of best directors, we've got five, one, two, three, four. We have five. We have five. We have Chloe Zhao for Hamnet. We have Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme. Of course, we have Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another.
yeah.
Joachim Trier. How do you say that?
Joachim Trier.
Yo- Joachim Trier.
Yeah.
No relation to Lars von Trier, I hope.
No.
So, so sentimental value, and then of course Ryan Coogler for Sinners. So if you had to call it, you're thinking Best Picture, Best Director, Paul Thomas
I
Anderson.
think right now, yes. I think Best Director is more of a lock for Paul Thomas Anderson than Best Picture. I think Sinners
Okay,
could upset just because of the way it's voted on the ranked choice voting. I think Sinners could upset in Best Picture, but I think this is the award where the Academy is going to be like, he deserves this. He's been putting out excellent work. He's never put out a bad film, you know, whether you like the films or not. I don't think he's ever put out a bad film. Um, this is the one where they're going to be like, this is yours. This is
right.
yours. He's also going to win in best original, I mean, best adapted screenplay. But this is the one for sure where I'm fairly confident it's going to Paul Thomas Anderson.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to move on to the Best Actor category. I have a favorite. I want to know if it's your favorite. One of those actors in the category we can't really comment on. That's Wagner Moura for The Secret
Yeah,
Agent. Neither of us have seen it. But I also haven't seen Ethan Hawke in Blue Moon. That's not even on my radar. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
great
Um,
performance.
Is it okay? And Ethan Hawke is always really good at everything. Everything he does is really good, but he's never won an Academy Award, I don't think. He got nominated for Training Day.
Yes,
Um,
I think that's the
and
only nomination, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, that's only nominated. So, I mean,
I
he's
think I could be wrong.
well, we've got Timothy Chalamet for Marty Supreme, DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, and of course Wagner Moura. But I got to say, I think it's Timothy Chalamet's year.
I think I would say so, but I think this is ripe for an upset. I think this is a year where the top 7 or 8 actors have given career best performances. I think a lot of people are saying that One Battle is Leo's best performance. A lot of people are saying Blue Moon is Ethan Hawke's best. There's a lot of great performances. This is the toughest race, I think. I think
Oh,
right now, if you look at the precursors and what everybody's been saying, it's Timmy. But the Academy, historically, although this is a different Academy now, historically they don't reward younger male actors. Leo didn't win till way late in his career. You
yeah.
know, um, so we'll see. I'm leaning Timothy as well, but this is really I don't think. It is without a doubt Michael B. Jordan's best performance. It's without a doubt Timothy Chalamet's best performance. I hear it's Wagner Moore's best performance, but again, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't say
Right.
that. Ethan Hawke, I would argue, yeah, it's his best performance too. I don't agree that it's Leo's best performance, but it's up there for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a tough category.
So this one's probably the toughest category out of all the categories that
Yeah,
you
for
see, right?
sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Let's move to the Best Actress category. We've got Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, Rose Byrne, who I haven't seen. I haven't seen If I'd Had Legs, I'd Kick You. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I I don't really like Kate Hudson. That's no reason not to see Song Sung Blue, but I haven't
I
seen
also
it.
have not seen Song Sung Blue.
Okay. I Sentimental Value, I haven't seen it. And Emma Stone and Begonia. So we have Renate Reinsve in Sentimental Value and Emma Stone and Begonia. I've only seen two of those performances.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like Jessie Buckley gave an astounding, memorable performance in Hamnet. I'm still blown away,
Yeah.
but that's because that's the freshest film I've seen.
I
Um,
think, yeah, I think it's hers to lose. I
okay.
think it's hers to lose. I think she's been by and large the front runner since Hamnet came out. Um, I mean, Rose Byrne was great, and If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. That would be my number two.
Okay.
Um, I can't think of her name from Sentimental Value. She was
Oh,
great.
Renate Reinsve.
Yeah, she was great as well, but I don't think her performance is as showy as Rose Byrne's or my brain
Jessie
is
Buckley. That's okay.
yeah, like we literally just said both of their names.
It's all right. I have a cheat sheet. I'm looking on the side of my screen. Otherwise, I'd be hopeless.
I've been up since early dealing
Oh,
with
geez.
but anyways, yeah, so I think it's definitely Jessie Buckley's to lose. I think
Okay.
I think the surprise upset would be Rose Byrne. I don't think Kate Hudson has a chance. Even though I haven't seen it, that was the shock of the one of the shocks of the announcements that she got in over um Chase Infinity from One Battle After Another.
That's the snub I was going to talk to you about. Chase
Yeah.
Infinity was fantastic.
Yep.
Um, I even thought Sally Hawkins in
Yeah.
Bring Her Back
Yeah. Yeah.
was
Also great.
snubbed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
again, I haven't seen it, but it's very interesting that I would have thought Chase Infinity was a lock before they
yeah.
announced. So it's very interesting that she wasn't, and we'll see.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Let's move on to Best Supporting Actor. We've got Benicio del Toro in One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi, Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo for Sinners, Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. Um, I thought I had a favorite, but the more I think about it, I can give you my pick if you want to hear my pick real quick.
Yeah,
Um, I was locked on Sean Penn, but I actually think Delroy Lindo should get this.
I agree. I don't think he will though.
Ah,
I
what a
agree. I
shame.
think Delroy Lindo, I think, is one an underappreciated actor, but
Hmm.
I don't think the Academy is going to give it to him. And I really agree with you. I would be ecstatic when they announced his name. I jumped up and screamed because he should have been nominated a few times
Sure.
and hasn't been. But I think he's his performance, I think, is just fantastic. It has so much depth to it, but also comedic, and you can say the same for Sean Penn. It's
Sure.
comedic and very, but I do think that the 2-1 battle after another actors are going to cancel each other out. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
so
that
Benicio del Toro will knock out Sean Penn and vice versa. You think?
yeah, because a lot of times
Okay.
people are voting for the film that they enjoyed the most in these
Okay.
acting categories, and th this happens most of the time when there's two nominations for the same film in one category.
Yeah.
I think they're going to cancel each other out. I think it's Stellan Skarsgård. I do.
Okay.
Um, but
C-
I would be ecstatic if Del Orlando won. That would be amazing. And
Yeah, I have.
I wouldn't be surprised if the one of the one battle people were won. Because again, in the past 5 years, really, 5 or 6 years, the Academy has changed so much that the historical precedent is just different from what it used to be. So I wouldn't be surprised. And the international body loves one battle after another. One battle made more money overseas than it did domestically. So
Seriously.
yeah,
Wow.
Europe loves one battle. It's done very
Whew.
well overseas.
Wow. Well, I want to talk to you. Let's move to Best Supporting Actress, and again, I'm hamstrung here, so I'm not even going to give you my pick. Mostly because sentimental value. I didn't see it, so Ellie
Well,
Fanning and
again, they will cancel each other out. This one, I'm
yeah,
sure they will cancel each
they'll
other out.
cancel. Okay, so I think it's down to Wunmi Mosaku, Teyana
Hmm.
Taylor for One Battle After Another, Wunmi Mosaku for Sinners, or Amy Madigan for Weapons. Um, I I I can't even make a call there. That's
And
such a
either on this one, this is a toss up. I don't think Misaku is going to do it.
she was
Simply
so
because
good.
she was so good. She was
Yeah.
fantastic. But I think that's such a an ensemble film.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
that even though it has three acting nominations, but it's such an ensemble film, I think a lot of people are going to penalize it for being an ensemble film. Um, but one battle, the first 45 minutes is all Tiana Taylor. It's just
Yeah.
all Tiana Taylor, and she's a lightning rod in that entire thing, which has also been controversial for a lot of people. But
Yeah.
I have thoughts on that I disagree with the condemnation of it, but that's neither here nor there. Um, yeah, Tiana Taylor, I think, is a lightning rod. She's sucking up all the oxygen for the first 45 minutes of that film. Um, but Amy Madigan has been surprisingly winning a lot. And
Yeah.
I think Amy Madigan is another one of those it's time Oscars. She's been around forever, and what she did was amazing in Weapons. But if I had to guess, I would go Tiana Taylor just simply because of the Academy's bias against genre films.
Against horror
Although,
films. Yeah.
if they're going to award a horror film, it would typically be in one of these categories or in writing.
The last time I think, and this is going to make me sound really smart, but it's not. I just happen to know this random fact. Ruth Gordon for Polanski's Rosemary's Baby
Yeah.
won an Academy Award. And I
Yeah.
think that might be the last time someone in a horror film won an Academy Award film. I mean, I guess you could
Um,
say Silence of the Lambs,
I was
maybe
about to
is
say some people consider Silence of the Lambs a horror film. I would think of it more of a thriller, but
psychological thriller. Yeah.
psychological thriller, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but like a straight horror film, straight, yeah.
I can't
Uh,
think of any other straight horror films that were even nominated, let alone won.
yeah.
I mean,
I think
Get Out was the last like straight horror film that was nominated
yeah. I think
across the
Teyana
board.
Taylor, I'd give it to her simply because every time she was on screen with more established talent like Sean Penn and
Hmm.
DiCaprio,
Hmm.
she elevated the scene.
She
That's
did.
that's rare for me because I'm like I
Hey,
expect Sean Penn to elevate any scene he's in, and he does. But
yeah.
Teyana, matched and elevated. She held her own, and I think because
Yeah, I
of
mean, I
that,
think.
yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I think because of that, I think she has the edge here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think she does the big showy things
Hmm.
throughout the entire sequence that she's in, but also the postpartum depression bit. I've spoken to a lot of women that just got that, like understood it so much, the postpartum depression, and she played that part very internally, which goes against what she's doing throughout the rest of the film, the parts that she's in. I think it's hers. I
Yeah.
would I would assume that it's hers, to be honest.
Well, you have to give Sinners some love. They got 16 nominations. They got to walk away with something.
They will
So,
win Best Original Screenplay, Best Score, likely.
okay.
Uh, those are the only guarantees I can give it.
Okay.
Those are the maybe Best Sound, which is now
Yeah.
one category instead of two.
Well,
Um,
well, if we're
uh,
talking about best
oh, and
original,
best casting. They would
best.
definitely win Best Casting.
Oh, you think so? Over
Yeah.
Marty Supreme?
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Marty Supreme is great, but again, it's Timothy Chalamet. You
Right.
know, like Ozai, what's her name? What is her name? Why is my brain not working today?
That's all right.
The one who plays his love interest,
Uh,
Odessa is
yes.
she's really
Yeah.
good in it. Fran is really good. Fran Dressing is really good, but she's not in it that much. It's, Tyler, the Creator, is really good. But I think every single role in Sinners was perfectly casted. Like, just every single role was perfectly casted, and everybody did fantastic in it. That award is between One Battle and um, Sinners, but I think Sinners is by and large the
Okay.
the front runner for that.
I really I have to I can't argue against that because I was stunned. Miles Caton as the blues man, kind of
Yeah.
this Robert Johnson-esque type guy.
Yep.
Loved him in that, but even the Jack O'Connell as
Jack
the
O'Connell was amazing.
whew, and
By
he
the
didn't
way, have
get
you seen Bone Temple? 28 years later, Bone Temple.
I have.
He's so
He's
good in that.
amazing, isn't he?
Good. Oh man, he's really good. I'm
I,
sorry.
we
But yeah,
we might be talking about Bone Temple this time next year. It could get some nominations. It might.
I
It's
doubt
a little
it.
too early to say so,
It's
but
it's a January horror movie. Yeah, no, I highly doubt it.
probably
Highly,
not.
highly doubt it.
I think Ray
Highly,
Fiennes
highly.
is due for some love, but
Oh, for
okay.
sure. But
Yeah.
I doubt it. I
Okay.
doubt it.
That's fair.
Um, no, yeah. So that this is the first time this award is being given out, so it's hard to set any precedent with what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming One Battle and Sinners won because the casts are great, but they also have acting nominations, multiple acting nominations. One Battle has what, four
Hmm.
acting nominations. Sinners has three, I think, acting nominations.
Wow.
So they're both doing pretty well. And it could be argued that One Battle should have five, even six, because there was a lot of talk at one point for Regina Hall also getting a Best Supporting Actress nomination.
And I thought she got robbed in that category too, because she was
I agree.
fantastic as
She
well.
was fantastic. She was really good. She was not to go too much into the controversy of Tiana Taylor's character, but her and Taylor were two sides of a coin to me. They were
Yeah.
both the mother figure for within the film, at least, not within the character's entire life, but within the film, they were mother figures to Willa, and very different approaches, very different. They showed very different sides of femininity, of Black femininity, and I think they painted a picture that was broader than a lot of people gave it credit for.
And I think that's astounding given that Paul Thomas Anderson, a white man,
Yeah,
was able to tell those stories about black women in a way that resonated with black people and the black experience. And that
yeah.
I think is amazing.
I mean, don't get it. Don't be confused. There are a lot of black people that are upset, particularly with Tiana Taylor's portrayal. But I think what Paul Thomas Anderson does really well is he is collaborative with his actors, and just listening to interviews, listening to how this film was made, a lot of the things that happened came from the actors. Like the entire Latino Underground Railroad thing that came from not Sean Penn, from Benicio del Toro. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, a lot of that came from them just sitting around, and Benicio was like, "Well, this doesn't make sense. I feel like my character would do this and do this and do this," and then eventually it just built itself into this brand new thing that wasn't originally in the script, and that kind of that kind of thing I think is something that a lot of great directors do. I know Scorsese does a lot of things like that. I know, you find you hire actors not just because they can say the lines really well. You hire them for their ability to create a full three-dimensional character. And sometimes it should be when you hand the actor hand the character off to the actor, they know the character better than you do as the writer eventually, And I think that's what Paul did with this, with the cell phone thing and One Battle After Another. That came from Chase Infinity. Paul is very much against cell phones and movies. That's why he hasn't made a modern film in, 15 years or
Right.
20 years almost. Yeah, more than 20 years. I think Punch Drunk Love was his last film set in modern times,
Yeah,
you
it
know.
was. Yeah, it
So
was.
he's very against cell phones, and Chase Infinity was like, there's no way that a 16-year-old girl would not have a cell phone. There's
Right.
just no way. And she's right.
Yeah.
There's no way that a 16-year-old girl would not have a cell phone in 2025, you
Yeah.
gotta, not that they say the year, but it's
As the
yeah.
parent of a teenage daughter in high school, that's absolutely right.
Yeah. I was a teenager. I was in high school 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15 years ago. And even back then, there was no way we would not have our phones.
Right.
There was absolutely no way.
Right. That's so good. Um, best original screenplay. Excuse me, I have to clear my throat. Let me clear my throat. All right, sorry. Yeah. So, best original screenplay, we talked about this. You feel that the best original screenplay is Sinners in this
Yeah,
category, and the
I think
category is Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme, It Was Just an Accident, which we're going to talk about more in depth in a minute, and Blue Moon. And of those, you think Ryan Coogler's got this in
yes,
Sinners.
I think there would be an uproar if he did not win that award.
Okay, awesome. And I
Because
think,
because I think the Academy is going to want to give Ryan Coogler something for putting this
okay,
film together. I don't again I it's possible that it will win Best Picture, but my money's on One Battle After Another. It's possible that it will win Best Director, but my money's on Paul Thomas Anderson. And I feel like they're going to want to reward Ryan Coogler himself, not just the film, where, with casting or if any of the acting categories go that way or, score or,
sure,
sound and all of that. They want to reward him specifically. And I think this is the category to do that. A lot of times when there is a debate on who should win Best Director, they give the person that would be the runner-up the best screenplay. That's
okay.
that's a lot of, especially if they're a writer director. That's a lot of times what happens, and I think that's what they're going to do here.
Fair enough. Best adapted screenplay. We've got Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Train Dreams.
It's not even close. It's one battle after another.
Okay. Yeah. I can't argue with that. I think that's
Um,
absolutely right. If it isn't that, then it would be Hamnet for me because
yeah,
because
yeah,
Maggie O'Farrell's 2020 book and Chloe Zhao's adaptation of that book, pretty good. So if it wasn't One Battle After Another, I would go with Hamnet
yeah.
for
Agreed.
that. Okay. Best animated feature, Arco, Elio, K-pop Demon Hunters. I think I know where this is going. Little Amelie. By the way, my youngest daughter's name is Amelie. Or
Okay.
The Character of Rain and Zootopia 2. Should they just give it to K-pop Demon Hunters?
Yeah, it's not close. It's K-pop Demon Hunters. Same with best original song, K-pop
Sure.
Demon.
Okay. Best casting. You've already ruled on this.
Yep.
It's Sinners for you, and the other nominees are Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, which we can't really speak to, but Sinners, and we've covered this, and I can't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it's just I'm guessing here, but because the entire cast was so good, which is not what casting is, they've explained it. It is not. the best cast. It is the best casting, meaning the picking the best people. So not
Hmm.
necessarily the best performances, but picking the best people for the act of casting, you know. So, but I think it's Sinners. And unless so there's a caveat to all of this. The
Sure.
Academy has had, and both the international branch and the normal domestic branch has shown that they love one battle after another. So there's a caveat that one battle after another could sweep every category that they're in. I don't think they will, but it could happen.
Do you think that there might be some consolation voting for, hey, Regina Hall didn't get it, didn't get nominated.
It's
Chase
possible.
Infinity
It's
didn't get
Infinity, yeah.
nominated. Maybe we should just give them the best casting.
It's
That's the
it's
way we.
very possible. It's
Okay.
very possible. Especially again, the emotion of what's going on in the world right now. You know, the condemnation of this administration and Hollywood is notoriously liberal, so
Yeah. Yeah.
they will be voting emotionally when it comes to all of this. So it is very possible that they're just like, we're going to stick it to the Trump administration and just vote one battle across the board.
I like it. I could see that too. I really could. Best cinematography. Now, this one,
This is also a tough category.
okay, this one I really am excited to talk to you about because I think it's down to two. But
What are your two?
my
Well,
two, okay,
let's
yeah,
the
let's list them. Frankenstein, Marty
uh,
Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams. I'm going to lean towards Train Dreams.
I am leaning towards Train Dreams as well.
No
Um,
way.
yes, I'm leaning.
Wow.
So I was before I saw Train Dreams, I was
Yeah.
Sinners all the way. And I know a lot of people are going to be mad if Sinners doesn't win. But
Yeah.
Train Dreams, which use primarily natural light, is just gorgeous. It is gorgeous, and it's tougher because a lot of people in general just didn't see Train Dreams.
Yeah.
I, I try not to argue with people online because most of them have not seen all of the movies. They've seen one or two movies that they really love, or one movie that they really hate and one that they really love, and
Right.
then they argue for that. But and One Battle is great, and Autumn Durrell Artpaw is the very first woman to shoot on IMAX cameras, shoot a feature on IMAX cameras, and all of that good stuff. But Train Dreams is just it's breathtaking. It is breathtaking. I wouldn't be surprised if Autumn won, but I'm leaning Train Dreams. Mike Bauman, for One Battle, I don't think he has a shot, mainly because this is his first time being a cinematographer. Um, and the way that Paul Thomas Anderson does his cinematography, especially in the last three films since he stopped working with Robert Elswit, is he is primarily the cinematographer. From what I've heard, he doesn't like the credit of that because he respects the art of cinematography, and he doesn't do light as much. So from what I've heard, it's Mike Bauman is light, Paul Thomas Anderson is camera, and they meet in the middle.
Interesting.
That's what I've
Interesting.
heard. And they have a third collaborator in that thing. Their camera operator, Colin Anderson, who is a fantastic camera operator, who also operated Marty Supreme.
Oh,
Um, so it's kind of a three-headed cinematographer for Paul Thomas Anderson's last three films.
got it. Got it. And so designated a
But
specific.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Phantom Thread, there was technically no cinematographer. Most people say it's Paul Thomas Anderson was his own cinematographer. Licorice Pizza, Paul Thomas Anderson and Mike Bauman split the title of cinematographer. And this one, Mike Bauman is on his own as listed as a cinematographer. So I don't think he has a shot. I think that film is great too. I think uh, Frankenstein. Frankenstein, I don't think so. It is the Academy loves Guillermo del Toro, which is not surprising, but I don't think this was one of my favorite. I think Begonia should have been in here. I think that was a beautiful film instead of Frankenstein. Um, and what was the other one?
Uh, Marty. So Frankenstein,
Oh
Marty
yes,
Supreme.
Marty
Yeah.
Supreme.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Marty
Marty
Supreme.
Supreme was also great, but I think this is a film that is the only award that I can see Marty Supreme winning is possibly production design, but definitely Timothy Chalamet for acting. That's the one that I think Marty
Yeah,
Supreme walked away with.
that's fair. That's really fair. I did a review for Train Dreams. I thought it was beautiful. I thought the natural lighting, um, stunning. Just
Stunning.
yeah. There's
I wish Netflix allowed their films to be in theaters more because that is a film that you want to see on the big screen. It is gorgeous.
there was a very Terrence Malick
Yes.
esque style to Train
Yes.
Dreams, which I
Yes, it
loved.
was. Yeah.
Um, and the way it was shot and the way so yeah, it was gorgeous. But again, I'm thinking about that final scene, the car chase scene in One Battle After Another, going over
Hmm.
those hills, and the
Hmm.
way that was filmed. I mean, that was so technically
Yeah.
mesmerizing. I mean, I don't know if
But again,
that.
I think the cinematographer branch of the Academy, which would be the ones voting on this award, I think they would penalize it because of the Paul Thomas Anderson, Colin Anderson of it all. Like Mike
Mm,
Bauman, and Michael Bauman himself has said that's what they do. He primarily focuses on light. Paul and uh 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 I just said his name.
it's
Colin,
okay.
Colin, Paul
Yeah,
and Colin
yeah.
primarily focus on camera, and Paul Thomas Anderson is a lens addict, and he knows lenses better than most cinematographers. So
Okay,
I feel like they might penalize Mike Bauman for that, but
okay.
I think his lighting is phenomenal and well deserved.
Well, I want to go through these next categories a little bit quicker. I think we can get through them a little bit quicker. But best
Yeah,
costume design: Avatar, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, or Sinners.
Sinners,
Yeah.
Sinners.
Um,
Marty Supreme, I think, mainly because I see a lot of like Gen Z boys trying to dress like Timothy Chalamet and Marty Supreme right now.
yeah,
Ever since that
yeah.
movie came out, I see a lot of it online. They're trying to do that. Avatar, it's not a physical costume, so
No, it's all in CGI. Yeah,
oh yeah.
which blows me away. I can't believe it. But okay, so film. So your pick for that is Sinners.
Yeah.
I would say Frankenstein, but yeah, Sinners is probably the lock, I think.
Yeah, I think Frankenstein is the more traditional Academy
Yeah.
Award for costume, the period piece with the, big frilly costumes and all of that. But I think it's Sinners.
Okay. Film editing. This one's big. This is why I think F1 ended up in the Best Picture category. You've got F1 for film editing, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, or Sinners. And which of those films do you think editing was a critical part of why that movie did so well?
I mean, all of them really.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about this category. I don't know why, because I'm also an editor. I'm trying to now. I honestly I think F1 could upset, but I think this goes to one battle.
Okay.
I think.
I thought Marty Supreme's editing was very cleverly done. A lot of
It
snap
is as well.
cuts, a lot of
Very, very, very much so.
uh, that's a
The
tough
thing I
one.
would say about that, yeah, this is a tough one too. The thing I would say about that is it's very much Safdie-esque, like we've seen it before in
Okay.
both Good Times and Uncut Gems. It's very much the Safdie style of editing.
Okay.
Um, I would say I wouldn't be surprised if F1 upset because that they had the way they shot it and had to put the
Hmm.
footage together was just difficult. But yeah,
They had
I
to
think
they had to cut. Sorry, my
getting
daughter's
your
out here.
background isn't real. I was like, oh my God.
I know. It's all right. Yeah, because I remember reading the technical way that was edited and put together, and they had cameras mounted on the F1 cars and
Yep. And they were
so
shooting in between like breaks during races and all of that. It had
actual
all
F1 races. Yeah.
actual F1 races, yeah.
Yeah.
But I would think one battle just because of the way it was first the River of Hills alone is a
Hmm.
phenomenally put together scene, but also, you know, it's really two films in one. It's a short film starring Tiana Taylor and then a completely different film based on the what happened in that short film.
That's
So
true. That's true.
yeah,
Best production design: Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, or Sinners.
that
Whew.
might go to Frankenstein to be honest, but I think Marty Supreme could win legendary production designer. and my brain isn't working again. But
It's okay. They didn't name in your. To be fair to you, there's no names attached to the production design. It just lists the films, so you're
but
off the hook.
he's probably the most legendary uh, production designer alive.
Okay.
But um, uh, I think Sinners, the setting of it all was very important uh, for the texture of the film. Marty Supreme, they turned New York into New York of the 30s or 40s. Was it 40s?
I think it was 40s or 50s. I think
40s
it
or
was the.
50s, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
true.
that was amazing as well. This one, I honestly I don't know on this one. I have no idea.
Tough one. Yeah, that's a hard one.
But
Best original.
Frankenstein is very grandiose in
Okay.
its production design. So
I could see them giving it to Frankenstein, I think, on that. Didn't Poor Things win production design?
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I think Frankenstein could walk away with that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Best original song. Um, Dear Me by Diane Warren for Relentless. Golden, K-pop Demon Hunters, I Lied to You. Sinners, Sweet Dreams of Joy, Viva Verdi. Train Dreams by Train Dreams. And
Golden.
it's
It's
golden,
golden.
isn't it?
It's golden, and I don't think this one is going to be close either. But if there is an upset, it is I Lied to You.
By Sinners, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Miles Caton, I think, sang that, I think, didn't
Yes,
he?
Miles Caton,
Yeah,
Rick, I can't think of his last name,
yeah,
was the yeah.
yeah. Okay. Okay, we'll move on. Best sound. F1, Frankenstein, one battle after another. Sinners, and a film I'm not familiar with, Sirat.
Yeah, Surratt is a good film. Um, I would say, man, this is hard too. There's a lot of great sound. I think this goes to Sinners though, because I think the music is included in this,
Hmm.
I would assume. So I think I'm going with Sinners on this one.
Okay. Hey, if you need to take a break, we're
No, no,
almost
no.
done. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Cool.
no, my dog was walking around.
Okay. Best visual effects: Avatar: Fire and Ash, Jurassic World: Rebirth, The Lost Bus, and Sinners. I've actually seen all those.
Avatar, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I would go with Sinners. I recently watched a breakdown of the Sinners visual effects, and a lot more was visual effects than I had realized.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a whole lot more.
Well, then that alone is amazing because you're always aware that there's visual effects happening in an Avatar film or a Jurassic World film, but
Yeah,
if when you don't know that it's there,
yeah. I mean,
that's
yeah, I knew there was some, but I didn't realize there was as
wow.
much as it was. But I
Okay.
still think that is probably Avatar. But I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna say Sinners. I'm
Okay.
gonna say Sinners because you're right. I'm gonna I'm just gonna say Sinners.
That's fine. It's there's a good chance it'll win. So yeah.
Yeah.
Best makeup and hairstyling: Frankenstein, Kokuho, Sinners, The Smashing Machine, The Ugly Stepsisters, or The Ugly Stepsister, excuse me, which I've seen, which is interesting. It's an interesting horror. Um, I don't know. I feel like probably Frankenstein.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I would assume so. That's the biggest the most showy, I guess, of it all.
Okay. Documentary feature. I haven't seen any
If
of
they
these, so
any
I
of them.
you
Yeah.
know what? I'm going to skip that. I'm going to skip it. It's anybody's guess. How about the documentary short film? Have you seen any of
No,
those?
haven't seen
Okay.
any of the short films or
Okay.
the documentary. The short
Okay.
films and the documentaries are always so hard to find.
Yeah.
I never see all of them every year.
Okay.
They're just always just they're not they're for whatever reason they're rarely available on streaming. They don't come to theaters anymore. Nobody
Okay.
shows short films anywhere. It's yeah.
I'm gonna also best live action short is that the same situation.
Yeah.
Butchers, yeah,
Yeah.
and best animated short. I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah.
So one section, the last category here that we can talk about. I know you've seen most of these, if not most of these, you have, and I've seen at least one. Is international feature film, and of
Mhm.
course, Secret Agent we haven't seen. It was just an accident Sentimental Value, which I know you've seen. Sirat, I don't know if you've seen Sirat.
Yes,
You
so that
have.
is really good. Yes,
The Voice of Hind Rajab
I
from
haven't seen it.
haven't seen it. Okay, so um, can we talk, because I haven't seen Sentimental Value or Sirat, but we've both seen It Was Just an Accident. Do you want to
Yeah.
talk about that?
Yes, I think one to say what my actual guess is, I would
Okay.
assume that it's sentimental value simply because of how many nominations it's gotten across all categories. But yeah, yes, it was just an accident. That movie was phenomenal. I had no idea what it was about. I've seen a few Jafar Panahi films, and he makes films under duress and is always about to be arrested. He can't go home to his homeland, for a lot of the work that he's done. And yeah, I think it's just it is somehow funny and an emotional gut punch at the same time.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I wrote my review of that this morning before this podcast, and I watched it last night, and I was stunned. I went into it blind. I didn't know what it was about. I just went ahead and watched it. And man, was this thing about trauma. This thing was about mercy,
Hmm.
justice, revenge, PTSD.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, and then you look at the life of Jafar Panahi, the director. You just look at his life, and this is coming from his experiences being arrested and detained and tortured by Iranian governments and things.
Hmm.
I mean, it's when well, I think about some films that are just that make me laugh, like those endless Police Academy sequels, or Dude, Where's My Car, or these
Yeah.
stupid films. And then I look at like Jafar Panahi, and I'm like, this guy makes films to try and change the world.
Right. And still makes them entertaining and funny,
Yes, and
which
he
is,
does it with literally like they could bust the door down and close the set down at any moment. You
yeah.
know,
I mean, most of the film was shot without permits, without permission, just setting up a camera and going.
crazy.
It's
I
insane.
really I really loved It Was Just an Accident. It's interesting that that's been France's official submission because of, but of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah, he
Iran.
can't he can't he can't make it in his own home,
No,
but yeah, I think France, I think it was a collaboration between France and another country.
maybe Morocco or something.
Something like that. I can't remember
Wow.
the other country, but it was a collaboration on the film. Yeah, it is flooring. That scene towards the end when they're out in the middle of nowhere at night and they take the guy out in the red light bathing him. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Wow.
Or how about that?
It's like one shot for like, 10 minutes or something like that. It's yeah.
I like the ensemble shot too. Another long take is when they're out
Yeah.
in the desert and they're all there, and the
Yeah,
camera
yeah.
just moves from all these characters sharing their trauma and their
Yep.
anger. That was
Yeah.
stunned me. I was stunned by that. I love that film. And now I want to watch the other films in that category. It's a Secret Agent's at the top of my list of things I need
Secret
to
Agent
see.
is great, and you should also see Sentimental Value because
Okay,
Joachim is doing a lot of great work. And you should also watch his film, The Worst Person in the World, because that is also great.
awesome. Well, I think we've covered every category that we can. We've covered every category. We've made our predictions. I can't disagree with any of your selections, Deontay. Um, the folks, if you're listening, like I said at the beginning of this thing, if you're listening and you bet, by the way, if you have a problem, there's Gambling Anonymous. But if you are just gambling casually, you know,
Honestly, if you're gambling on the Academy Awards, you might have a problem.
yeah, absolutely right. If you might have a problem,
You might have
um,
a problem. This isn't the NFL.
no, that's right. This isn't UFC, NFL, nothing. So, but anyway, man, it has been such a blast to have you back. It's been almost 2 years since you were on. That is never going to happen again. As long as you're happy to keep coming back, I'm happy to keep having you back. I kind of wanted to get my feet underneath me and, get comfortable making this podcast before I started
Yeah.
inviting the people I respect the most back on. And so I'm so stoked to have you here, and I can't wait for us to at least compare notes after the Academy Awards and go,
Yeah.
well, we got that right, or oops, we got that wrong.
Yeah, I would love to be back. I love talking about movies, and I'm happy to see that you're still doing this. One of the I, I had a podcast with a company called Film Crux a while back,
I
and
remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
yeah, we're not doing anymore because they stopped sending me interviews to do, but it's neither here nor there. But one of the toughest things to do is get past, I think, 60 episodes of a podcast. And what episode are you on now?
Ooh, I'm in the 190s.
Yeah,
So,
so you're most podcasts fail by the 60 mark. So, you're really doing your thing. And
hey,
I'm hoping that you're growing at a steady pace.
yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I did 50 episodes last year.
Wow.
So, so
Wow. I mean you're on it almost every week. Almost
yeah,
every
so
week.
yeah, death, taxes, and my podcast every Tuesday. You can pretty much count on it. Yeah, I've had some really interesting guests. I've had some guests that have released films on Netflix or guests who've debuted their films at South by Southwest. Um, I had a guy on last week that was in the film Walk the Line with and had scenes. He was one of the band guys in the band with Joaquin Phoenix, and
Yeah.
so I've been really I had another guest on who has a role in Nolan's The Odyssey coming out later this year. So
Nice.
I just keep looking forward, and anyone that wants to talk about their work and wants a safe environment to discuss it and celebrate your work, this is where you come. I'm happy to host you.
Well, hey,
Uh,
if you ever have any interesting guests on and you want some company, you can call me up.
I will I will take you up on that. I'm serious. I
I'm
will take
serious
you up on
too.
that.
I'm
Okay.
serious. I would love
Okay.
to.
Yeah, I would love to have you on and we could just both I oh man, if you get a chance, you should watch this documentary American Skyjacker.
Okay. I'll check it out.
I had both the directors come on, and then People Magazine picked up their movie and did a whole spread in People Magazine, last week's People Magazine. But I had
Nice.
those guys on my podcast. It was nuts. The horror film Marshmallow, that's in the top 10 on AMC Plus. I had the director and producer on, and now they just greenlit it for a sequel. So
Wow.
when I have guests on, man, I'm gonna hit you up. I'd love to have you.
I would
Um,
love to be there.
Okay,
Love
man, that'd
to.
be awesome. That'd be awesome. Folks, I always say this at the end of every episode since I took over. Your mental health is extremely important to you. Um,
Hmm.
you have to take care of yourself. You have to, not to borrow a phrase from the late Michael Jackson, but I want you to look at the man or woman in the mirror. And if there's changes that you need to make those changes. If you need to put more positive influences in your life, find those influences. The world can be a dark place, but we can make it brighter if we insist on putting the influences that we need around us in our lives. So tear down your walls, let your guard down a little bit, and let some people in. Let the light in. It'll be good for you. And I leave that with you, and I'll see you guys next week on another very exciting episode of this podcast. And I hope you have a great one. Take care.
Here, here.